Dispatchers help callers on the worst days of their lives. For over 25 years, we've been there. A silent partner in millions of calls thanks to our redundant and diverse networks that ensure call delivery. Today, cities are bigger, traffic more congested, and the challenge is more complex. But you're never alone, because InDigital is quietly improving, implementing, and driving the next generation of 911, so you're supported in every situation. Make the switch at indigital.net.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact of the first responder answering the call? Available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Yeah, I do remember my first 911 call that wasn't, an accident or a butt dial.
Yeah.
It was a 10-year-old kid, and it was just, I remember it, and it's so close to me because my boy was 10 at the time. And he's like, my mom's on the floor, she's not breathing, she's shaking. I don't know if she had a seizure disorder. He didn't say it was a seizure, but and I said, what's your address? And this is my first time, so I'm like, oh my gosh, all this stuff, like, you walk through it, with nobody on the other end of the line, you know what to push, you know where to go, and you just like freeze, like I gotta help this kid. And so he's like, I say, what's your address? And he says, I don't know it. We just left because my dad was mean to my mom, and we just got our own place.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. We are currently live in the vendor hall here at NENA 2025 in Long Beach, California. We are sitting in booth 621 and just recently announced this awesome partnership with Within the Trenches Podcast and Rapid SOS. And I am super excited to have my guest today, the first scavenger hunt winner. My guest today is Tiffany, and she's a 911 professional with 911 Communications out of Utah. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am doing very well. So I want to jump in really quick here before we learn your story on how did you get here to begin with? Because you're a scholarship winner, right?
I am. So it's my second year.
Yeah.
Last year I had my resignation letter written out, signed, in my bag, ready to turn in when I got back from conference.
Yeah.
I was going to give it a try. I hadn't been at conference. It was my first my first time out of the center for training. And so I figured I'd go and see what it was all about. And then right when I get back, I'm quitting. And I'm going to have the rest of the summer off and just spend time with my kids and grandkids. So I went to National in Florida, and it was life-changing. I seriously was like, I love this job. I love this profession. I love everything about it, except for sometimes maybe not things in the center.
Yeah.
But the job is everything. Like, I love it. So I didn't quit my job.
Yeah.
I stayed there. I did go part-time because we were being overworked, and I had some family things that I needed to do. but I still work there. And I told myself, like, I did this for me. My work did send me last year. I'm on the Utah board.
Yeah.
But I won't miss it again, even if they don't support it. So this year I said, hey, I'm on the board again, and I want to go again. This is something that's amazing. Like it seriously fills the cup of the cup of you that's empty all the time from this profession, and you can fill it up in a week here.
Yes.
So I'm like, I got to do it again.
Right.
So I had asked to go, and they said they weren't sending anybody. We don't have the staffing, but when they announced the dates last year, I asked for those days off a year in advance, and I booked a hotel, and I'm like, I will get there. It does not matter how I get there, I will get there. So I asked to come. We weren't sending anybody, so I said, okay, I've got to figure out a different way. I wasn't mad. I wasn't sad. I was like, I'm still going. So still have the days off. I applied for the Gold Line Scholarship, and they're like, we'll tell everybody by April 15th who won. And April 15th came and went, and I was just like, oh man, I didn't get it. Dang it. So I went to my director, and I said, hey, I'm still going, but I didn't get the scholarship. Anyhow, next morning I woke up and there's an email that I got the scholarship. It's one of 50 out of
Yes!
the United States, Canada. I was so pumped, so excited. So that's how I got here, and it's just amazing. But I was so excited, told my work about it. They were not excited. They're not supporting it. They're not recognizing it. I think it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal to me.
Yes.
And that's just what it is. It's a huge deal to me. And if it's just me, that's me. And I'm the only one that matters. So
this is exactly correct. Yes. I love that you have that mentality, that mindset of choosing you. And I think a lot of times in this profession, we don't choose us. It's always about everyone else, right? And it's always about getting help out to everyone else. But when it comes to us, we're like, I'll get to it.
Right, and that's when you'll stay at the bottom.
Right, yeah.
You don't need permission to give yourself a gift.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
This is my gift to myself.
It is.
With the help of the scholarship this year.
Right, yeah, and it's refreshing that you have this mindset and everything, that you're going into this. So what I want to do is I want to, first off, congratulations once again. I've told you this since I've seen you here today and yesterday. But again, congratulations. That is amazing. Those who are listening right now, think about that. Choosing you and everything that you want to do to invest in yourself to get further. There's way more outside of the center, like these conferences, like trainings. There are so many things. I know people are probably listening to this saying, well, I don't get these opportunities. However, you can't always say that because there's an opportunity, right, for those scholarships. And if you get it, awesome, amazing. If you don't, try it again and keep doing it until you go, because you're right. It is life-changing. The networking alone, and the classes, the experience, all of it. I mean, you'll meet people that have the same things in common as you, where you might think, man, I thought I was the only person. Right. And you find someone else who's going through the exact same thing, and you can learn from them. Person. Right.
A bunch
of people. Yes, exactly. So let's go back in time really quick as we're sitting here talking about this. How did you get into public safety to begin with, though?
I moved up to the county where I live in to be close to my brother. Mm-hmm. Since then, he's moved away, so I'm there by myself.
Yeah.
And he told me that they were hiring, and I was like, "That is so amazing! Like, I want to do that. I want to do that." So I went, I applied, and I didn't get the job. I was rostered, so they hired somebody else. They didn't work out within the 6 months, and I was still on the roster, and they called and they said, hey, are you still looking for a job? And I was like, hey, yes. So I went. I've loved everything about the job since I started it, but I've never fit in. I'm different in every way that you can be different in my center, and that's fine. I've got thick skin. I can take whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I never felt like I belonged. I knew I belonged doing the job, but maybe not with these specific people. And it's a lot of teamwork. You're doing your own thing, but you have a lot of teamwork. So I was the dispatcher that I want to pick up the phone, I want to hang it up, and I want to go home. I don't want to do anything else. Like, it's just, this is a job, and this is it. So then I talked to my director, and she's like, have you heard about NENA? I think you'd be great on the NENA board. Do you want to do that? And I was like, what's NENA? This is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what's NENA? And she's telling me, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. But all our center knew about was APCO, because we had 2 people that worked for APCO.
Yeah.
But that was too many, and there wasn't room for someone else to go do it. I had never been to an APCO training, never knew anything about APCO. So I was like, yeah, NENA, cool. So I applied, I get on the board. This is the first time in my career, after 6 years, that I felt a part of something, that I felt included. If you ask me right now, who's your 911 family? It's my NENA board. It's
That's
not
awesome.
the people that I work with. I love most of them, but it's my NENA board. That's who I think of. Roxy from National. You reach out to me in Utah, to give me support. That's unheard of, because the person sitting next to me doesn't support me.
Right.
So NENA, it's my 911 family, and I won't miss it as long as I'm dispatching ever again. And I will stay on the board as long as I can. I may not be able to I don't know if my center will support it next year. We do have to have the director sign that, that we can run. And if I don't, maybe I won't work there anymore. Maybe I'll find a different way to. I want to stay involved with NENA. It's literally changed, not just my work life either. There are things here at this conference that have changed my personal life, and it's
See, and those are some of the amazing things that, as they say, is the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yes.
So you've got all of that. You get into it. So you've been doing this for 6 years?
8 years now.
8 years now?
Yes.
Okay.
This is my second year on the board.
What was it like when you first started out? For those who are listening right now, if you can kind of paint the picture for them, you are walking in that first day into dispatch. Now, did you get to do a sit-along in the beginning or no?
No.
So you just, and green, just going in.
Yep.
So
35 years old.
So you walk in, what are you seeing? How many people are on the floor? Are there tons of monitors? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you asking yourself, can I do this? Tell me what is running through your mind as you're walking in that first
All
day.
of that. For a whole year.
For a whole year.
Day.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, for real, yes.
I didn't feel like I could do this till I hit my year. And then I was like, wait, I can do this. It was just I don't know what it was, but after that year. So I don't know if it's you're on probation for a year, or I don't know what it is, but after that year, it's like, oh, hey, this is me, I can do it. Other than that, we had people that were like, we're not going to learn your name for a year. You have to stick around a year. You can't do this. You can't do that. I would get excluded from lunch orders when people are in the room. Hey, do you want this? Do you want this for lunch? Do you want this for lunch? Completely skip over me. Go to the next person. Do you want this for lunch? The only time I would be included is if I offered to go get it for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Stuff like that, racial jokes, and nothing was done about it. It was just like, oh, that's how we are. That's how that person is. You've got to have thick skin. I can't believe I survived, but I did.
So you know what? I get it. I've got a good sense of humor. I've got thick skin as well. But there are some times when it goes from humorous to bullying, you know, and then you're like, well, what am I supposed to think now? So and it's in every dispatch center where they have a version of that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I took a class the other day, and this lady, we're writing all the things that are about our center, and I'm like cliquey and judgmental, and some things like that. Not everybody at my center is, but it's there.
Yeah.
And this lady goes, "Oh my gosh!" And she goes, "Ours is like a family." And I said, "So is ours, but you don't know how my family is, right?" But she's like, "Ours is a family. We babysit each other's kids. We take care of each other's pets. We take each other's kids here and there. Everybody loves everybody." And I was like, I sat there for a second, how would that be? That would be so amazing for the only stress from the center to be the stressful job that you signed up to do.
Right. Yeah.
But for me, my stress has never been about the job I do. It gets stressful.
Right, of course.
But like hurt, pain, like stuff that you carry with you, it
It's more
hasn't
so
been
the
cause.
environment
It's
that
been
you're
the
in.
environment.
Oh,
That's
man.
crazy.
And that sucks because there are places that are like that all over the place, and people are leaving. And I think, so in this class that I teach on communications, I tell people, and I'm a firm believer of this, if the short staffing issue, we are going to be the ones to fix it by building that culture where people feel actually welcomed, acknowledged, and all this other stuff,
Right.
where people actually want to stay,
Right.
where people actually give a shit. And and people that are in there, they're like, yeah, no, we feel the same way, but how do you do it? And it's like, by talking to each other, by learning from each other. I mean, it's all over the place. So when you first started out, you go through your training and everything, do you remember some of the earlier calls that you took, whether it be your first call or just some of those earlier calls that you took in the beginning? Do you remember any of those?
I do. I can remember some of the voices I heard my first year. I can't remember the password I use every day, but I can remember some of the sounds and some of the voices, and sometimes it just takes me right back to that call.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know why the brain does that. It's not very nice, but it happens.
Triggers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can, yeah.
So are there any that you're able to share as long as you feel comfortable?
Oh, let's see.
Or even a call that has stuck with you? And it doesn't have to be a very hard call. It could be a save, it could be a powerful call, something that you took or even something that you're proud of, or something that's been rewarding in dispatch with some of the calls that you've taken.
Yeah, I do remember my first 911 call that wasn't, an accident or a butt dial.
Yeah.
It was a 10-year-old kid, and it was just, I remember it, and it's so close to me because my boy was 10 at the time. And he's like, my mom's on the floor, she's not breathing, she's shaking. I don't know if she had a seizure disorder. He didn't say it was a seizure, but, and I said, what's your address? And this is my first time, so I'm like, oh my gosh, all this stuff, like, you walk through it, with nobody on the other end of the line, you know what to push, you know where to go, and you just like freeze, like I gotta help this kid. And so he's like, I say, what's your address? And he says, I don't know it. We just left because my dad was mean to my mom, and we just got our own place. And I was like, okay, can you get a piece of mail? He's like, there's a magazine. I'm like, what's the address? I was so focused on putting in the call. I'm not looking at the maps and everything else. He tells me the address, send out units, and it's a magazine she brought home from work. At the same time. They're going to the wrong place. That, ever since then, I was like, I've got to get this right. So she got help. It was a seizure. She was okay. But it was just, that was stressful to me.
Of course.
I'm like, what if this happened and we were alone and this happened? And yeah, so you just got to use all your tools. And I learned that very early on from that part.
Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking when you're going through. I remember when VoIP phones first came into play, and it was something similar where it was a domestic. Somebody had called in. I verified the information on the screen a couple times, and they're like, yeah, that's the address. But when people are calling in, they're not fully thinking, what's going on. They're just kind of like, yeah, exactly, like you said. Yeah, that's it. Well, the officers are halfway there. And it turns out, like, it finally clicked because I said the address again. I was like, these are the cross streets. They're like, wait, what? Like, no, we moved from there months ago. This is the actual address. That address is what's on the screen. And I said, well, yeah, you have to actually call that company to tell them. It's not like a landline. And they're like, oh, no. So everyone had to whip it around. And, of course, it was on me. It was like, well, why didn't you get there? I was like, no, I did. You can listen to the tape. That's why there's recordings. But, yeah. There are nerve-wracking moments like that. So out of these 8 years, with everything that you've been doing in the 911 profession, how do you feel the profession has changed you?
A lot.
Yeah?
It's changed me a lot. I'm less of a people person than I used to be.
Uh-huh.
I see the bad. I see the bad in everyone. And before I worked there, I didn't. And so now I'm like, oh, I don't want my kids to do this. I don't want my grandkids to do this. My son's like, hey, I'm going to go to the lake with my buddies. I'm like, no. And it can't be like,
right,
hey,
because you're thinking,
The last time I heard that lake, somebody went under the water and never came up.
Right.
I don't want you going.
Yeah.
I can't instill that in them, the fear, but it's a lot of fear, and it's just every day. But I don't know. It has changed me. There are some positive changes. A lot of negative, though.
Yeah, there are definitely, there can be a balance, right? But yeah, sometimes the negative outweighs the positive in the sense of, you're like hyper aware and focused on things that could happen because of the phone calls that you've taken, the things that you've heard. Excuse me. But I feel like there's superpowers that we get from it as well, because how many times now in the 8 years that you've been in this profession have you been in a situation where someone might react a certain way, where you are calm, cool, and collected, and you know how to wordsmith, navigate your words, and how to get through conversations, especially if you're on the phone being on a hold with customer service or something, you're able to be calm.
Yes.
Like there's that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that comes out, but also dispatch here does not turn off. So it's a gift and a curse.
Conversation.
I know, yeah, the ones that are in front of us. Yes. Yeah, I had someone in class last week in Texas. She had said something, and I was all the way up front, and I pointed at her and I said it, and she goes, I didn't, you heard me. And I was like, yeah, I heard you. I was like, this doesn't turn off. I was like, I'm just like you. So yeah, there are a lot of positives. There's a lot of those good moments that happen in 911 as well, which is why I love this profession. Yeah, there's a lot of hell in 911. There's a lot of hard parts, right? But there's also a lot more resources now to help a lot of us get through some of the things where, like when I first started out in 2001, nobody was talking about dispatcher resilience, mental health and wellness. There was nothing like that. There was no resources. It was just like, put some dirt on it, get back in there, buddy, you got this. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, put some Windex on it, drink a 7-Up. There's so many more good things that are out there now. So as we go,
but we need to go to these conferences to find them, to learn about them, to bring them back.
Right.
And we also need to be accepted. We've got to stop this is the way we've always done it. This is how it's going to be.
A phrase that I hate, yes.
We've got to stop that. Well, I don't know why we do it, but we always have, and
We've always
worked.
done it this way, yes.
And it's like, it's actually not working. Can you open your eyes? It's not working.
Right, exactly.
And so many centers, I'm not just going to say mine, so many centers are just like, oh, you need more money. You need more money. You need more money. I'm here for more money. But when people are leaving for $5 and $10 less an hour to get out of your environment is not about money.
That is very telling. Yeah.
When people are not picking up overtime, which is the big money, it's a problem.
Yeah. I have spoken to a lot of people who have said that they would rather take a pay cut to work in a place that has a good culture than to make tons of money and just feel like shit all the time and not have support around them. So as we go into the wrap-up of this episode, it's been awesome to have you here and talk with you and learn more about you and everything. And again, congratulations on the Gold Line Scholarship and everything that you're doing. Our friend Julie here was telling me right off the bat, like, you've got to get her on. And you were hesitant a little bit in the beginning, but I'm glad that you sat down with me. So here's the final question for you. Out of the 8 years that you've been in this profession, if you could go back in time to talk to yourself in the beginning, what would you tell yourself? And it's not to change anything, because I feel as though there are hard lessons, all types of lessons that we learn that bring us to the person that we are today. But if you could go back in time to talk to yourself, what would you say to yourself?
You're going to need help. You're going to need support. Go find it and go get it. If no one's going to bring it to you, go find it.
That's awesome. Perfect. You're good. You're good.
I'm not going to cry.
Thank you so much. But even with letting out the emotions, this is a good thing.
No,
because
we're supposed to be tough.
We are supposed to be tough, but there's more courage in showing that emotion than holding it in. So this is a good thing.
No, just bottle that shit up.
No. I did that shit for too long, and it hurt more than it helped.
Yeah.
So that's what's good about conversations like this
Yes.
and what you are doing right now in showing that emotion. This is a good thing. So thank you for everything that you do, for your perspective, your mindset in this profession. I appreciate you. And as we go into the wrap up, for everyone who's listening right now, if you have any comments, questions, you ever want to be a guest on the show, simply send a message to or hit the link to be a guest. Go to links, that's links.co/IAM911. You'll find everything on there. This episode has been sponsored by InDigital, a leader in next-gen core services. And once again, shout out to Rapid SOS for our partnership that we have going. There's a lot more to come, so make sure to listen for that. And you can listen to this 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you all in the next one. And scene.
Yay! Oh, thank you.
Imagine listening to someone's worst day every single day. Imagine listening as someone experiences life through their worst nightmare to the miracle of birth or a life saved. I'm Ricardo Martinez, a former 911 dispatcher, and for years, I've been recording the voices of a hidden world, ours. I've provided a space for 911 dispatchers to share their powerful stories. It started as a peer support session and continues. Dispatchers sitting together, sharing out loud, or writing down what they couldn't say. Some stories will grip you. Stories of heartbreak, resilience, and calls that haunt us long after the line goes quiet. But imagine listening is more than heavy emotion. It's about healing. It's about laughing through the chaos, lifting each other up, and reminding the world that dispatchers are human too. The lighthearted will balance the heavy. Experience the power of storytelling, a podcast for the thin gold line and those who want to understand it. This is Imagine Listening. Your worst day is our everyday. Subscribe now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.